entertainer.
You're live.
Let's put your microphones on.
You actually started?
Yeah. Oh, live.
For real?
For real, it's live.
What is up, guys? Hey, happy Friday.
They can't hear you because you don't have your mic.
No, it's right here. It's
you know?
fine. We're good. We're good.
Yep.
We're good. Happy Friday, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of Access Omaha. Very excited. Got another great guest for you today. I'm going to go through some really cool information. Got my boy Ryan Pramberg here.
What's up, guys?
Yeah, we're going to talk today a little bit about investing in yourself as well as others. And Ryan's going to give Ryan an introduction.
Amen to that.
Do we need to have code names? So
True.
we know who is
True.
to talk here?
It's true because you can't say RP
Yeah,
because
both
you're Ryan
RP.
Pramberg and I'm Ryan Potter.
You're Ryan Potter.
So,
your initials are also
yes,
Do
RP.
you have a middle name?
Michael.
It's not even close.
Okay.
Ooh, so maybe Michael is me and
I'll be James.
you're James.
Or I could have said any name. I
know,
I have a
you-
cooler name.
See? You better think about it.
Oh, I think I know what it would be. It'd probably be like Liam, because Liam Neeson is the baddest. one
Liam
I've ever
Neeson.
seen.
He is.
Wow.
Bad. He's bad at the bone.
It's true.
Introduce our guest, right?
All right, yeah. So me and Ryan, we kind of go way back here. I mean, we go back some years now, which is good. But back in the day when I was old still at the time, I was working at Grace University.
May she rest in peace.
I know. Rest in peace, Grace.
Rip.
And this is where I met this guy, was at Grace University. And I couldn't tell you who introduced us, but we definitely ran into each other a lot and spent some time in my office talking and getting to know each other. And then this guy over here was like the student body president, so he was kind of a big deal.
Accidentally. I didn't run against anybody. I ran unopposed 2 years in a row,
Okay.
so they kind of got stuck with me.
Which is pretty awesome. I mean, that just shows how wise you are.
We'll go with that.
So that's how I got to know this guy, and then obviously through real estate, I got to sell you and your wife your first house, which was pretty awesome.
That's right. I don't know if anybody else.
Oh.
Thanks. Personal shout out.
That's right.
Appreciate that. And obviously we got to know each other even more through that, and we've opened up our house to your ministry and what you're doing with your students, and to me that was a huge blessing. And even Vanessa, and after you left that night, we were like, man, we got to do this more often, because
Absolutely.
we just, more so selfishly, I get free food. But then it's not just like
That's right.
food, man. It's like home cooked meals that this guy's
Yes.
teaching his students
That's right.
how to make, and then they
Wow.
were serving the leaders in the
Wow.
basement. It was pretty awesome. But then even after that, this dude stayed until like 1 a.m, and we were talking like investing and budgeting and
That's right.
all this other stuff. And
Got to invest in everybody.
Man, this guy-
I hope we're gonna get
Yeah.
to hear a little bit about some of that today.
yep, so we're gonna dive into that. So that's my long introduction to this guy right here, Ryan Pramberg, and I'm gonna let Levi kind of move us into the next
Yeah.
stage here.
Yeah. So thanks for coming on, man. We really
Absolutely.
appreciate it. I guess for our audience and even myself, since Ryan knows you pretty well, but you and I have only had the one meeting, talked on the phone a couple times. Tell us a little bit about your story, where you're from.
Absolutely.
Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? We talked about college a little bit, but maybe touch on that a little bit more, and kind of what brought you to where you are at least now.
Yeah. So I grew up in Lincoln.
Shout
My
out
whole
Lincoln.
life. Yeah.
Born and
Born and
bred.
raised.
Go
My
Huskers
parents-
tomorrow.
My parents live there still, same house.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Nice.
really great. I was the oldest of 4 kids, and so our family was wild. We always, all of us, drifted towards sports.
Yeah.
We just kind of avoided the whole music track
Uh-huh.
and the creative side because my dad was an athlete, and so we just wanted to be like Dad.
Nice.
Awesome.
So I remember growing up, we always played, we always were doing something, and like I am at this awesome place because I got to grow up without technology, and then I also get to see the benefits of it.
Yes.
And so
Yep.
I grew up, I think the first video game system we got was when I was like 14. And it was like
What
the
was
PS2.
it? PS2.
Yeah.
I was gonna
Yep.
say PS1 or
And
PS2.
so
Yeah.
and I take that back. Right before that, my parents had bought us an N64.
Okay.
And so
nice.
like
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yep.
That's where it's at.
Dude,
And
There's
Goldeneye.
two games
Goldeneye.
on Nintendo 64:
Yeah.
Mario Kart and GoldenEye.
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 Yeah.
Yep. You know, you
And
want
those
the
are-
golden gun.
Yep, and you want the golden gun. Yes, exactly. And so we had
Yes.
to play on paintball mode because
Oh,
guns
yeah.
were violent.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
it's the same shooting.
Yep.
But you just see, instead
The
of bullet
paint.
spray, it's
And-
paint.
Yeah.
Paint.
So shout out to my mom and dad for helping us not be violent.
Thanks, Mom and Dad.
That's right.
Thank you. That's
so
awesome.
High school, I went to Lincoln East. I call it, if for you in Omaha, I call it the Millard North of Lincoln. So we
Okay.
were really academic. We were good at a lot of major sports, but kind of where we excelled was like swimming, golf, tennis.
Nice.
That was just who we were. And so our school was super intelligent, and so that's just kind of, I don't know, drifted toward that place, and that's where I went to high school. And then eventually ended up at Grace University.
Yeah, walk me through that. Like, how'd you go through like the process of deciding a school and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so I
Because you're in Lincoln.
I'm in Lincoln. So I was actually looking at becoming an aerospace engineer.
Wow.
My goal was NASA.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I love math, love science, engineering, kind of that. I like problem solving because that sounds like a place where you're like, hey, we need something to do this.
Yep.
Figure out how to get it.
Yep.
And so I love that element of
Discovery.
and discovery combined with creativity, combined with problem solving. And so I was like, that'd be super fun. I mean, I could do that, I guess. So I was looking at going to the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, and then I had this other side of me that wanted to potentially go into vocational ministry,
Yep.
which is just what I call it because it's paid ministry.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to live their life ministering to others, but
Right.
one group gets paid for it. So I was looking into that, and so it was between Grace University and then the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. And so I ended up choosing Grace for a couple reasons. One, I'm an older brother, so I do love my siblings a lot. And so being between Lincoln and Omaha, if there was something big, I could always drive home. That I could be involved, and sometimes because my siblings were all athletes too, they would play Omaha teams, so I could still go to those games and go cheer and etc. Also, it was far enough away that I could be on my own.
Right.
It's like,
Yes.
hey, if there's
Little
a
freedom.
real nail out,
Yeah.
like we're close, but I'm in Omaha and you're in Lincoln.
Yeah.
So, yep. So ended up going there, made a lot of great friends, and like Ryan said, I did become the student body president through at least it was wild for me. Other people more or less thought it would happen. So I didn't super always love the process of that, but it was a great 2 years of just leading the school, caring for people, working with the administration, because a lot of that is just the go-between between the students and the teachers. And like Ryan said, like, I don't know, like some people, just because I was in the role I was, would come and tell me their stuff. And that was always a little like, I'm not qualified to answer this question, right? Like, you're trying to get me to answer something. I'm like,
but there's an appeal to authority that comes with something like that, right?
Yeah.
So it allows you to put your foothold in a little bit more and also get a little bit more credibility while you grow yourself,
Right. So that actually, it did grow and stretch me a lot, just because you have to have a lot of different balls in the air. And so, like I said, ended up at Grace, met my wife, and then shortly after I graduated, number one in my class, jumped into
Whoa, look at that drop there.
Ministry. So right after school, got a job at Youth for Christ. Been there ever since, and then married my wife about 6 months later. So
Wow, that's amazing.
I thought it worked out well for me. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, how'd you get connected with Youth for Christ, right? So some people out there don't know who Youth for Christ is, so maybe share a little bit about Youth for Christ and then how you got connected and what drew you to take that position over other things.
Yeah. So Youth for Christ, what we do is Youth for Christ is kind of an umbrella for a lot of different things.
Yep.
So we have a couple different programs called Campus Life, Parent Life, Camp, and then in Omaha, Campus Life Military. And then around the country, we also have a program called Juvenile Justice Ministry, and then Campus Life does middle school and high school. So what we do is we go out and reach out to other people that might not know Jesus, that might not interact with him, in order to introduce the gospel to them through a relationship that is loving and trusting.
Yep.
So that looks like before and after school programs. That looks like with our Parent Life program, looking for teen moms to encourage and build up with actual mentors, because a lot of those kids are at a high risk place,
Right.
and so having somebody else that's a non-family member to point, encourage, direct,
Help with life skills.
just help with life skills. Because
Yep.
I know, those girls are amazing. Those girls and young dads, because it's just like, I would not be able to do what you're doing at 16. And so to have somebody that's helping with that, but also teaching coaching is a big deal.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we work in the schools. Campus life is what I do. So primarily before and after school programs to build into kids. Yes, it is ultimately the end goal to teach them about Jesus, but a lot of the kids that do come are from other faiths, or they might not ever come to know Jesus. But we want to be here saying, nope, we're an adult that loves you, trusts you. We're going to give you a person who believes in you and a place that you can belong.
Wow.
And
Just
real
show them
belonging.
support.
Because again, there have been some groups of people where it's like they don't agree on anything religiously.
Yeah.
But they genuinely can care about one another in a group space. And so that's what we get to do. Love doing that. And how I got the job is a funny story. I applied for another church position here in town. Interviewed with them and was told I had the job. It was supposed to be for 15 hours a week, and then they said, you know what, we love you. I couldn't stop thinking about your interview because I felt like you were interviewing me and not the other way around. And so they were like, I want you for 40 if I can get you. And I said, sure. And then the day of hiring comes and I'm like, hey, are we supposed to meet? Like, what's going on? And then more or less the church didn't have the budget to hire somebody for even 15 hours a week, much less 40. So I kind of got the 1-2 step there. No malice, no hatred. Like, honestly, I have nothing against them. It happens. But somebody at the church was actually like, hey, I know this happened, whatever, but have you looked into a job with Youth for Christ? And so I applied, interviewed, and got the job about 30 days later, and I've been doing it ever since. So
So
awesome.
How many years now then?
This is the start of year 6.
Wow. So that was going to be one of my questions, is like how, you talk about going from grace to looking into staff with the church, and then kind of falling into Youth for Christ. Was there someone though, like, besides this person who just kind of randomly recommended this to you, was there someone who maybe mentored you to look into this type of discipleship or look into this type of vocation, as it were, and stuff for yourself? Was there someone like that, or was it more of just an organic thing where you just kind of fell into it?
Sure. So when I was growing up, I actually had a guy named Ricky Kennedy, who I love dearly.
Shout out Ricky.
Shout out Ricky.
Yeah.
I'm going to see him tomorrow, actually. So
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go Huskers.
Go Big Red.
Yes.
What's up?
He will not be at the game. We're actually doing, side note, my family, I'm super pumped about this, so I will share about it.
Yep.
Rib Fest in Lincoln ended this year, so my family decided we're going to put on our own.
Put on your
Oh,
own.
that's
we have-
awesome.
Cranberry
We
Rib
That's
Fest?
awesome.
We have, get this, 8 competitors smoking almost 40 racks of ribs. They're going to be at my parents' house, and so we're going to have.
What's the address?
That is need to know information, and my parents have said you don't need. So love you, Omaha, maybe next year. So my sister is an event planner by profession.
Yeah.
So
wow.
she's like, yeah, I've got 100 RSVPs.
Oh,
Everyone got
wow.
an individual email inviting them, and we're calling it our family is animal business, because my parents were both farmers.
Yeah.
So it was the Pramberg Hereford Farm. So we're calling it the PH Feast.
PH.
That's awesome.
So yes, but Ricky, getting back, he invested in me and a couple other guys in high school.
Yeah.
He just said, I want to give you time and energy and all that other stuff. And so he did that through high school.
Yeah.
And then I just saw the value of it. So ever since then, I have been intentionally seeking an actual mentor.
Nice.
And intentionally seeking someone to mentor.
And
so since college, I've had, 5-6 people mentoring me, each for a year or two each, and sometimes overlapping, because I just see such a huge value in outside information, but also somebody that's intentionally saying, I care about you, I want what's best for you, and so I'm going to challenge you. Because we all have blind spots, so it's helpful to have somebody point them out continually so that they can either grow, or you can say, I know this will always be one, and so I need to find somebody that is a compliment to me that can see that. That's better. I mean, honestly, because there's so many people that are
better.
just better.
Yeah.
Like, better human beings than me, but also like, man, I think of even the staff I'm on, I'm like, oh, I'm like third best at everything. At least. Like I can go one by one and say, yep, this person's great at this and they excel, and I'm like here. And this person excels here and here and here. I mean, it just, so it's a wonderful thing to actually have mentors. So in college, that was a guy named Wes Wilmer, John McNeil, Dr. John Holmes, Dr. Mark Linder. I'm trying to think if there was else. Ryan Potter.
Yeah.
Ryan Potter. He wasn't old enough to be the mentor. I mean, there was a gap there, but I mean, it was like, you're like a cool brother.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Cool older brother.
I'll take that all day long.
I think we really bonded when we actually did this game called Eliminator. And so we had this stupid game where we were
that was a great game, by the way.
Assassinating people, and the staff created their own. And so I had to be more or less an arbitrator between a couple of different scenarios where people were like, I'm at my office desk. I shouldn't have to worry about somebody pouncing behind me and killing me.
It was awesome.
So we had to create some new rules so that work continually got done and the play was still exciting.
So it's literally like socks, I think, right?
Yeah,
like,
we did socks.
So the students and the staff would have socks.
Okay, so what's the game? Because
So
I need to hear about this.
You literally have to get the other person out, and by getting them out, you had to hit them with your sock. But there were certain safe zones.
Is this like, hey, you pulled a sock off your
So-
foot, or you had one
No,
in your
like,
pocket? Like
people would have like,
people would put them together. People
Yeah.
put weight in them so they
Yeah.
could like throw them distances.
yeah. So you'd be like walking across campus, and you'd see like a student get smoked with a sock from like someone straight up, or like a staff, and they'd be like, "All right, I'm done."
Yeah.
And so as people get eliminated, then obviously the pool gets smaller and smaller,
Kind of like a giant.
but you
Hunger
never
Games
know.
with socks.
You never know who's still in the game, right? So like the people that are out, they're out,
They're
right?
done.
Their socks are gone.
They're done.
But you could be walking next to Pramberg, and he could still be in, and I could still be in, and you could have like a pair of socks, and so you're constantly like looking around,
Right.
looking
Oh, I
over your
love
shoulder,
this.
like,
There was
man.
paranoia
Yep.
and
Yes.
excitement where people were like, I don't know. So,
Yep.
yeah, we had to create
It was
some
awesome.
safe
So
zones.
what happened?
it went on for like a week.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
about.
We're digressing, and I want to hear more about you, but I need to finish this story real
Yes.
quick because this
That's
is
a
awesome.
good
Yeah.
story.
So wait, so what happens to the people who are in the pool? Like, does the winner get something? Is it more of like
Winner got a
a
cash prize, and it
Yeah.
was a good cash
Oh,
prize.
whoa.
Like,
Yeah.
like $100.
whoa?
So the
So you
students
literally,
had like 300. And
Yeah.
the staff had like
you're literally
30,
like
40.
everybody throws in 5 or something
Yep.
like that, and you're just
Yeah.
on the lookout. Are you like dodging socks and?
Oh,
dodge
yeah.
it? It's
I
like,
mean,
oh.
you're
And
running
we
from
actually-
people.
We made it where it was a giant loop. So everybody had a target. So my target would be you, yours would be Ryan, and his would be me.
Yeah, but we don't know who
But
that
you don't
person
know who
is,
has
right?
who.
It's like Secret Santa.
Yeah.
So if you get out,
Yeah.
now your target is my target. So you'd have to tell me, hey, who's your target?
Who's your target?
And then that person would then go find and seek out
The next person.
that next person until the game ends.
There were some kids that literally spent their entire weekend in their room,
Right.
so
Yeah.
they wouldn't get eliminated.
Right.
Yeah.
Somebody
It
hid
was-
under the stage
Are you
in the lobby for like an hour.
Yeah.
It's just to get somebody. People
Yeah.
would figure out class schedules and be in
Dude.
the room hiding behind
This
doors.
is
It was awesome.
amazing.
It was a great game. We obviously got a lot done that week at Grace
Cool.
University.
Yeah.
Clearly,
Yes.
clearly.
I mean,
Yes.
it just teaches people how to be strategic.
And
You know,
betray people.
that's true.
I hid
True.
in an elevator for mine.
True.
Did you really?
Yeah, because he had a wheelchair, and I was like, he has to use the elevator to go to lunch. So I stood
Smart.
behind the elevator,
Smart.
door, and when he opened it, I just went BAM! I was like, you're dead. And he just saw the eyes. I mean, it was,
It's just like everybody.
It was sweet.
Yeah, when people would get out too, they'd be so mad. Like there was like a whole. I could not believe I just let my guard down. Like,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
I thought they would never find me here,
Uh-huh.
and then they did, and then
They did.
it was great.
Yeah.
So from a staff perspective, it was always fun because you're always like peeking your head out,
Oh,
you know, in the
people would be
hallway,
like,
like
can
looking.
I run to the bathroom?
Yeah.
Do I have
Yeah.
enough time to run to the bathroom? Because my desk is a safe zone.
Yep.
Like,
Yep. It was awesome. Anyways, we got to get back into this. So
Yeah, jump back
if you've
in,
never,
but-
if you want to figure out a fun game to play with your employees, there it is. Boom, just like that. You could just do it here at Core Bank. Get it started.
I mean-
just
as long as
saying.
it doesn't
Just
build-
saying.
I was leading a
I
little
mean-
bit because this might be a thing we try to do in mortgage. So.
Yep. So light. This is what we like to call like our light bulb moments, right? So, so I'm gonna pivot a little bit from the ministry and the passion that you have there to another passion of yours, which we spend hours upon hours talking, which we love. We both love this. But budgeting and building wealth. So tell me where this passion started and why it's so important to you. As far as you literally, like, I tell your story all the time to people. I'm like, you have no idea the commitment that this guy has. To like,
it's deep,
to building wealth. And so many people will tell me and make excuses all the time, right? And even my wife and I will make excuses all the time where we're like, man, it'd be great to save for this. And then we're like, but we don't have enough money. And we're always making that excuse of like, I just don't have enough money, or I need to go make more money in order to save for this. But like, I feel like your mentality, and I don't know how to describe it, is completely different.
What you want me to do.
So just bring us back to kind of where this whole like budgeting, and you said you're a numbers guy and all that kind of stuff, but like what brings that passion out in you to be like, this is what I want to do and what I want to save towards and how I want to build wealth for me and my family moving forward? Like, where'd that come from?
That's great. So it happened by accident.
All right.
So in high school, I spent a lot of time actually going to Brazil. So I spent a couple months there.
Okay.
And so I had all of these airline miles racked up. And they're like, if you don't spend them, you're going to lose them. So I was like, well, I don't want any of your useless garbage that you're overcharging me points for.
Yep.
Because you like, I don't know if you know this, but I like did the math, and I'm like, the points don't add up. Like this one is like 100 points for $1, and this is 1,000 points for $1. Like, this is stupid. So I actually just subscribed to a couple magazines. So I got Fortune, Time, and Money, and I actually just read them I had nothing to do.
It's funny how all three of those go hand in hand.
Right.
Fortune, Time, and Money.
Well, Fortune and Time were owned by the same company.
I wasn't talking about the magazines.
That's okay.
But yes, those as well.
Anyway, so I just started reading them cover to cover because I wanted to learn. And I realized something that was profound for me, but it was like, if you're bad with your money, you'll be poor forever. Like,
say that again.
If you're bad with your money, you'll be poor forever. And it doesn't matter how much money you make.
Yep.
You could make more or less $40,000 a year and spend it wisely, and you can make $400,000 a year and spend it wisely or foolishly. Like, it just it doesn't matter the actual number. You can still be poor.
Right.
And I started to look at some of those things like NBA players that go bankrupt.
Yep.
Where you're like,
how's that even
possible? You made $60 million and somehow blew through it. And no shit, like not hating on them. It just was like a
light bulb moment.
Like a mind blower. Like, well, what would I do with $60 million?
Right.
Or like I told, like Andrew Luck just retired, and I'm like, I would love to be good enough at my job that people pay me $26 million not to work for them.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
Right.
What do you do for a living? I quit my job. Like,
you're 29. I know. I had a good run.
That's right.
Well, that's the thing, man. And that guy, if he does it right, he's going to be set for life. At 29.
Exactly. And so I started to just ask those questions. And why is it that some people end up wealthy and others don't? And so I actually had to have a couple paradigm shifts. Like one of them was not hating rich people, because there's a little bit, like, if we're honest, most of it just is jealousy. Like, people are like, well, why'd you spend your money like that? It's like, well, it's really just kind of hidden jealousy where it's like, I'd love to spend my money like that, but I can't.
Right.
And so if you learn how to not be afraid of your money, if you learn how to steward it, if you learn how to manage your money and not let it manage you, wealth will come.
Wow.
Like, because wealth is not the product of more money. Like, that's a piece of it. But like, wealth is actually a product of good stewardship, taking care of what you have, and more or less figuring out how can I do the most good with this. And so, I mean, I'm 27. My wife and I were able to pay off all of our student debts. And there's a lot of stories in there where I can point to, like, even the Lord guiding, directing. But we're trying to live a life where we can live off a single income if we want to. And not have to make all that much money. I would say that we are wealthy, even if somebody else doesn't think that. But I'm like, oh, I feel like we're wealthy all the time. Like, I just had to write a check to a plumber today, and I'm like, well, that sucks, but
it's okay.
It's just money. And so we have it's this weird attitude where we care very much about what our money goes toward, and also we don't. Like, if we need something, if my wife needs to get pills for something, she has high blood pressure, I'm like, it's just money. Like, at the end of the day,
you need it.
You need it. It's a tool. It's not something to be afraid of, but
Yep.
it's also not something to excessively love.
Right.
And so I started to develop these different theories about it, the different ways that it works, and then I just consumed information. And I mean consumed. So I have this tracker list of all the books I've read since college, and I think the last 2 years I've spent, there's more or less like 24 books on business, finance, and all that stuff, because I want to, the more that you can understand, the more that you actually can apply, and the more ways that you can look and say, well, the recession in 2008, all of the housing just got crushed. But if we have another recession, it might not be that way, because the cause of the recession was the housing market.
Right.
So if they've tried to fix that, maybe the next recession doesn't actually have a flash sale
Right.
on houses.
Exactly.
So where will the flash sale be that I can jump in?
Right.
And so
We're going to talk after.
Somebody
the show.
reading up on that. I love it. Yep. Because we've been talking about that. I mean, we've even said, like, yes, a recession will be coming. But when people, I think, hear recession, they immediately go back to, like, that 2008, right? And they think of, oh, there's going to be a crash in the housing market. And no, like, that's not what this next recession is going to be about, because statistics and numbers are showing us that the housing market is probably going to stay pretty steady. But it's going to be other things, right, that are going to cause that.
Corporate debt, student loans. Might be a different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah.
If I had to give my 2 cents, I would say corporate debt, like short-term corporate debt. In the next 3 years, there's something like $1.8 trillion worth of short-term corporate debt that is coming. It needs to be refinanced, or
mature.
it's going to smush people.
Yeah.
I think student debt could be a piece of the puzzle, but I can't. I mean, if I could predict it, I would be making a lot more money than I am. So, like, I mean, that's just kind of where it sits. So you kind of have to pick macroeconomically. You can't super tell where things are going to be. But
are you, a follow-up question to that? Brian and I were talking about this the other day, because you shared some personal info when we met a couple months ago and stuff, and I won't get into any of that, but on the financial side of things, and it just absolutely blew my mind when we were talking about it. And Ryan and I, we're semi-followers of, like, Ramsey and this kind of Total Money Makeover and stuff like that. And the other day when we were kind of chit-chatting about having you on, I was like, man, is he living out of envelopes? Like, what is he doing? Is he, like, putting the 500 in this one and the 200 in that one? And, like, what does that look like? Talk to us about how, we've gotten to the point where now you've just consumed all this energy, or all this information rather. You're soaking it all up. You're refining your own financial wellness and things like that. But then what does that look like as far as an application standpoint goes?
Absolutely. So my wife and I actually think that most of your budgeting is about 90% habit. So being someone who's more frugal, I'm going to look for the frugal option first. Like, I know that my breakfast is going to cost me about 40 cents.
Yeah.
It's 3 eggs and a piece of toast. And lunch is going to be $1.50. I don't know. Like, it's going to be some raisins, some nuts, an apple, and something else to get me the energy through the day, like a peanut butter sandwich.
Yeah.
So for me, I am always asking the question of how to optimize, but I think budgeting is about 90% habit. And so it's nice that I actually developed mine when I was younger, because my parents, they actually did use an envelope, and they would give me a $20 allowance for mowing the lawn, and automatically $2 went in my savings, and $2 went to giving to whatever I wanted, and then I could do whatever with 16. And so by the time I graduated college, I didn't actually do things like guys would go out to eat. I wouldn't do that. Like, we didn't have a meal Sunday night, so I just skip eating. Now, a lot of people don't do that, but I'm like, at my college, you have a lunch.
Right.
So I will just eat as much as I want to.
That's smart. Yeah.
And skip eating on Sunday night.
Right.
And that's okay with me. So I would have friends that would go out and buy Burger King 4 times a week for $3 a piece, and I'm like, you're dumb. Like, I couldn't bring myself to do that. And so even in the last 4 years, 5 years since I started YFC, I think I've eaten a meal out by myself alone. Like, how people have to get lunch or whatever. I think I've done that 4 times.
Wow.
And that's literally...
I've done that 4 times this week.
And I think that's just good. And I actually think that all of them, every single one of them, I'm pretty sure, was a $5 lunch at Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Because I can get...
Shout out DQ.
Shout out DQ. Because I can get $5
Warren
for
Buffett.
enough energy.
Their box.
I can get enough energy for the whole day. It was... this is the most convenient because my day is smashed, and that's just what I did.
Yeah.
And so then the rest of it is, a lot of it is automated. So I like a lot of automated savings. So you talk Dave Ramsey.
Yep.
I think Dave Ramsey is like money 101.
Right.
He's 100% necessary, and he is the baseline, and everything he's doing is awesome. But if you want to go to 102 or 201, you have to start there and build. And so the next thing for me was automating my finances. So all of my bills are on auto pay. Like when you talk budgeting, I spend like 10 minutes a month doing that to make sure my accounts are good. I'm saving enough, and then I look for ways to maximize my money. So that it looks like automated deposits into the stock market. That looks like automated deposits into my savings account, so that I can say, well, I know Christmas costs about $500, so I'm actually going to budget $40 a month for the whole year, and that goes into this pot, so that anything above $1,000 in our emergency account can go toward Christmas.
Wow.
Same for most major event, holidays, etc. And then the last thing that I kind of do is, again, I look for ways to maximize my money. So while I'm waiting to look for the next thing, I'm putting that away into, I use Discover. So just because my credit card account and whatever, but they have an online savings account that gets 2.5%.
Yeah.
Which is much better than my bank account.
Right.
That gets 0.03%. So our giant savings
Shout
account.
out, Core. Step it up.
I was just gonna. Well, he doesn't bank here, I don't think. But I was just gonna say, I think our money market's right around that amount.
Right,
You
money
have to
market,
check
but
on
not
that.
just a savings account.
Yeah.
It's the complete and total liquidity. And and then I just ask people questions. So I was talking to my plumber today. I was like, "What do you think about money? How do you process? How do you?"
He's probably like, "Oh my gosh, what's this guy talking
Who is
about?"
this guy?
Actually, I just met him. He's a great guy. Like I like him, and he's a Dave Ramsey fan. So we hit it off.
Hey, if you want to shout out your plumber, you can on here.
Schulte Plumbing.
All right.
CHULTE Plumbing.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
Boom. There you go, Schulte Plumbing.
That's right.
Way to represent.
Asking people that are honestly like smarter than me what they would do. So I work in the nonprofit world. So and I actually fundraise every dollar that I bring in. You know, that's so I ask people like Ryan, how do you think of this? What would you do? Some of them are retired and incredibly wealthy and incredibly generous. And so I ask, how do you think of this? What have you done? How did you get to where you got? What are some of the things? And there's nuggets everywhere, over and over and over. And I just soak that up and say, that might have worked for you, Levi, but I'm wired a little differently. So how can I take the goal behind that or the idea and apply that to my own life?
To the way,
because maybe you're really handy and you can flip a house. I can't. At this juncture in my life, I'm just like, I can't do that. So I need to find a place that I can use my skills,
we can show you.
talents, contributions.
I still got glue on my arm from throwing down some flooring this week. So
there you go.
There you go.
So I have to find for me what's a great avenue to actually build wealth. And then beyond that, guys, I don't think it's all about money. Like I actually think the phrase that I like to use is wealthy living. So my 3 long-term goals. I have 3 long-term goals.
I like these. Come on.
Each one of them have a history, but I can give you the short version. My first one is I want to have a top 1% of marriages in the world. I want people to look at my marriage to my wife and say, if that's what marriage is like, I want that.
wow,
That's the kind of marriage I want. My second goal, long term, is that I want to provide for my family the way that my grandparents did. Both my grandparents provided in such a way that they were wise, they were thrifty, but at the end of the day, it's like you guys can live in whatever home you want for however long you need to because you've been a great steward of it. So 1%, provide like my grandparents, and then long term, guys, I'd love that at my funeral that I can say that I have people of every nation, creed, color there because in some way I contributed positively to their life. And that might not actually be them, but even if there's a core group of 20 people where it's like, stand up if Ryan impacted your life. They rise. And then they say, stand up if those people impacted you.
Yeah.
And the whole audience gets to jump up.
Wow.
Like, I'd love to see that kind of legacy the rest of my life. And I don't know how long that'll be. Like, man, guys, this is great. I could get hit by a bus. Whatever. I'm moving. Those are the directions I'm moving toward, though, so that, man, the world thrives. Like, my life is thriving. They're thriving. Because it's not about money. It's about your relationships. It's that wealthy living That if you think it's just money, you're going to miss wealthy living.
Yep.
And if you think money isn't a part of it, you might also miss it. Where your friendships are great, the people around you are growing, so that it's like a rising tide that all the boats and all the ships rise together. I stole that, by the way, from Liz Bohannon.
Okay.
She's
Shout
smarter
out.
than me.
Shout out. There's a lot of shout outs.
That honestly,
I like
you did this before, man. Dang it! Where you're hitting my questions before I can get them.
It's
I know
okay.
it's same thing with Ryan. Like,
That's good. You guys came prepared.
I
They have
know.
lists
Yeah,
so I can do them beforehand. See, these guys.
no, but that was huge. I mean, a lot of times, like when we have somebody on, our big question that we really want to ask most people is, what is the way that you want to leave the world, or what's the impact that you want to have on your local community, or what is the thing that you want to cement yourself in, your legacy, or whatever it would be. And you really just perfectly went through that. Now that I'm actually asking the question, though, is there anything you would add or something different that you would say?
Yeah, I think those three are the directions I'm heading, and I'm not sure how to get there. Guys, I'm young. I'm 27, so I don't have any of those things. Like, they're still being built, and they don't. I mean, I don't think I've achieved any of them. I would say, if I had to add to that, like, whatever I do, wherever I go, I want to serve and love people. And so, right now, I get to do that vocationally in ministry, and I just like to say I'm a missionary.
Yep.
And I also know if I were to change professions at any time, that doesn't change.
Right.
I'm still a missionary, serving and loving people, but where my income comes is a little different.
Right.
And because I have that, I want to give that away as much as possible, because I don't think most people live with purpose, with direction. And on my good days, I don't either.
Yep.
And that's real. Like,
Yep.
on your back, like, there are some days it's just punching the clock.
Right.
But on the best days, it's like, no, I want to give away my faith as long as I can to as many people, no matter where I'm getting an income. Because at the end of the day, like, it is about glorifying God. And if I can learn how to do that for my finances, I can learn how to do it through other things. And if I can help somebody else not be enslaved to their finances, I want to do that too. Because I think the more people that are set free from that,
Yep.
Yeah.
whether that's learning to budget, or even, honestly, the next step behind budgeting is learning how to make more money.
Yep.
The more that happens, the more I'm like, man, how much capital could be unlocked if people lived off less than they made?
Yeah. Big time.
Like, how many more nonprofits could be started, or even
Oh,
not
wow.
nonprofits,
Yeah.
but how many other things could happen as a result of somebody saying, no, I want to help as many people get free from whatever bondage they're in.
Yep.
Because not all is financial. There's a lot of really rich people that live in bondage too.
Yep.
And that sucks.
Yep.
And so, I don't know if that answers your question, Levi.
It does. It's
I hope it gives a little.
it gives a lot more
It does.
depth.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
So before we close out, we always like to give you your own personal shout out here as far as how can people connect with you. Obviously, if they're listening to the podcast and they're like, man, this guy's legit, I want to tap his brain a little bit more. How can they come up and follow you,
But it would be kind of
or get a
like
hold of
being
you?
Grace University. Where it's like, I don't know anything. You're asking the wrong person the wrong question.
I will say this. It's interesting because I was talking to somebody in my office today, and she made a comment about the picture that we just took with our team, which it was fun to take those pictures or whatever, but she goes, it's been fun to watch you basically like grow from a single agent into now leading your team or whatever. And she's like, you're a natural born leader. And I'm like, stop it. She goes, no, you are.
Yeah, take the compliment.
And the same thing I think of with obviously us two in the room is, there's a reason why we've been placed in the position that we've been placed, right?
Okay.
And so with that being said, it's a bigger responsibility, but I think with the people that we surround ourselves with the things that we get to see on a daily basis, I think God allows that stuff to happen in order for us to then run with that and share that with those that are in need of hearing it.
Yep.
So with that, what are some ways, or where can people connect with you as far as if that is them and they're listening and they're like, man, I would really want to learn more about this specific thing or whatever. How can they connect with you, and how can they find you?
So if anybody wants to connect, Campus life, again, what we do is we reach kids.
Yep.
That's our heartbeat. It's everybody has a place to belong and a person to believe in.
Yep.
And everybody can hear the gospel from someone they know and trust. So that's in communities all over Omaha. So if that's something you're interested in, there are over 40 schools you can go to that you can get plugged into a campus life. So our website is goyfc.org, and I'm on there as well.
Yep.
I am there, so you can
we can find you
there. A buddy of mine and I are in the process of putting our ideas together to actually form a blog, because like I said, you want to give away what you know for free.
Yeah.
And so we are developing that.
Okay.
It's called avocadofinances.com.
Ooh,
making
all right.
fun of the fact that most people just think millennials spend money on avocado toast.
Which is
some guy in
amazing.
Australia loves to make fun of that. And we're like, well, we're millennials being built. Like we spent a lot of time to make sure it looked pretty.
Yeah.
And now we're putting our ideas together so that everyone can say, well, how can I make money? How can I manage money? And how can I actually live wealthy? Because it's not just money. You can be really rich and be poor in friends. And that actually
sad deal.
would suck.
Your first post, though, you're just going to share this video, right?
Yeah.
Or this link to the podcast.
We'll just link to this.
Yeah.
We'll get those backlinks going.
There we go. I like it.
That's right.
Say the website again for us.
Avocadofinances.com.
Awesome.
And if you just want to pick my brain, guys, like, I've got time. Come.
Right on.
I will give you some of that.
Social? You on social? Facebook, LinkedIn, anything like that?
I mean, all the normal avenues.
The normal ones?
Facebook, LinkedIn.
Okay.
I actually mostly just use Facebook for Messenger.
Okay.
And
there we go.
That's where I reside. So
shoot them a message.
Shoot a message.
Ryan Pramberg.
That's right.
Ryan James Pramberg.
Ryan James Pramberg.
Yeah.
Michael.
Got that figured out.
RJP.
We share the same initials.
Yeah,
You're awesome.
My parents had to make sure it didn't start with the letter I. So just get that for everybody.
That's awesome.
All
right. Well, that concludes today. It was good stuff.
Good stuff.
Pramberg,
you too.
thanks for coming on.
Fun conversation, just hanging out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Appreciate what you guys do.
Thanks for coming on, man.
Yep, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Happy Friday, everyone. And we got to put this out there because tomorrow's game day. Woo! Go Cornhuskers.
That's right.
First game of the year.
We'll send you a recap video of the PH Feast too.
Boom.
Because it might be.
Oh, I like that. Yep.
That's right.
Yes. Show me some of those ribs.
You would not believe.
Can't wait.
It's been fun to just create a little bit.
Okay.
I like it. All right, guys. Have a good one.
Signing off.
See ya.
Thanks so much.
Gotta stop. We're still live.
That's okay.
Still live. Hey, guys.